And we're back, episode 3 of the podcast. Like always, I'm joined with Mate. Today we have special guest, PSN, GreatWallOfSerb. How are you doing today, Shooter Steph?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So today, if you noticed, there was a Easter egg in our last video. We're going to be talking about Clash Royale and how Clash Royale impacts the NBA player today. So first off, I would like to ask you, do you play Clash Royale?
I played when we had Canadian Nats in Japan with Mate. That's when I played, but my days are over now.
Okay, so you don't have any experience playing best of sevens.
Not currently, no.
What's become really popular is the triple draft and playing best of sevens. And it's like kind of a daily, and it's really to just show who's a better Clash Royale player. And many people are doing that every day. Next question is, are you familiar with the clan Alpha Domination and Canadian Moose?
I'm not familiar. What are they?
There's some of the top clans some basketball players are in. Today, I'm just gonna really go in depth about these clans and like how it really brings basketball players together, how it really allows them to just develop their game because Clash Royale is just it's more than just a game. I think it's really connected with basketball. So Mate, do you have anything to talk about Canadian Moose or Alpha Domination?
Like one of the top players in Alpha Domination is Boban, and his favorite card is the Royal Giant. And there you see another like Clash Royale could be like an alternate reality of basketball because like you think about it, a Royal Giant, it's like the biggest card in the game. Boban's one of the tallest players, one of the heaviest cards in the game. Boban's one of the heaviest players, and he just gets on when you put him on the court or the field. He's just instantly shooting from everywhere. Like you just
Yeah,
put him
he's
on, he
draining
just
people.
instantly starts. Yeah, he's just shooting. Like every time Boban gets on the court, he's just shooting.
So regarding Canadian Moose, they had a person in their clan, and his name was Still, just Still. Really, nobody knows who it is, and many people have taken guesses as who it is because they were probably maybe one of the best Clash Royale players in the world. Stefan, do you know, or do you have any ideas to who Still could be?
I think still is Mark Cuban. I think he came in with Boban. I think he bought the whole clan himself, so I think he's running it by himself.
Okay. That's a good take. I'm leaning towards Bol Bol. So my thought on this is that Bol Bol knows that Canadian Moose is a Canadian clan, and what he's trying to do is to show the world that he wants to be part of the Toronto Raptors because they're a Canadian team. I think what he did was he heard our podcast and he heard about the death lineup that I proposed. And I think he really saw that and decided that he needed to join Canadian Moose to show everybody that he wants to be part of the Toronto Raptors and that he could be in that lineup with Marcus Gasol, Chris Boucher, and Taco Fall that I was talking about before.
You forgot about Boban.
Oh yes, and Boba. I don't know how I could forget Boban. You're always dictating with Boban. You just can't forget that.
Yeah.
So another thing is the Cam Clash Royale. Many people are trying to obtain the Cam Clash Royale playing ability. Like even right now, I'm wearing a Bayview Golf and Country Club sweater because I'm trying to be that Cam Clash Royale because he played at Bayview Golf and Country Club.
Yeah.
So you can see people all over the world just trying to reach this Cam Clash Royale level. Have you been trying to reach that level recently?
Um, I'm actually out here wearing the Team Serbia, repping Boban's country. Hopefully he'll get there one day. He'll be able to rep that one day for Serbia and for Dallas, of course.
Yeah. Just hopefully he can be dictating like Boban. So like when you dictate with Boban, if he can be on that Serbian team dictating like Boban, I just don't know what can really stop them.
Yeah.
So with the Clash Royale, though, one I really want to talk about is many players have spoken about how they play Clash Royale before games, and it really brings their focus in because they see guys like the Magic Archer. They see it shooting from the other side of the bridge, hitting the tower, and that's in their mind. They're envisioning that they're pulling up from the logo, hitting shots. So like when you see Damian Lillard, Trae Young pulling up from the logo, making those shots, you know that before the game they were playing Clash Royale. They had that Magic Archer, and it was behind the bridge on their side of the tower, and it was doing damage to everything and the King Tower. So, how do you think this affects players? How do you think they can utilize this to their advantage?
I think they're utilizing great to their advantage. As you've seen, like the GOAT, LeBron James, he had a few logo shots himself. Hasn't had too many in his career, but, after he started his Clash Royale run, LeBron's been getting up there with Trae Young and all the others, Damian Lillard as well. We're all shooting from the logo.
I think that Clash Royale really affects how you play on the court.
Okay, yeah. Matea, have you been playing some Clash Royale since you started playing basketball recently?
I have been playing it like a bit before my games, and like I always play better when I have some Clash Royale in me.
What cards specifically, like help you play better before
Like
games?
I'm usually using RG in every single deck. I've always been using RG, and it's like
Well, let me just interrupt you. I think that's because you're trying to dictate with Boban. Like you compared the RG to Boban, so
Yeah.
I really just see like the comparisons there between not only in your Clash Royale play game, but I see in your game the comparisons between you and Boban. Like you can both play center, and you could maybe sometimes play shooting guard.
yeah,
The only difference is you have that leftiness finesse,
I
that he
do.
doesn't.
Yeah,
That's
he
just an
doesn't
extra.
have that. And just the next, yeah, exactly.
Yo, my brother, he scored 30 points on what's that guy? The really tall guy.
Which really tall guy?
The really tall black guy. He got drafted last year, 2 years ago.
What team?
Are they like brothers? There's two of them. Really? Oh, he plays for Pistons.
Thon Maker.
He scored 30 on Thon Maker.
So Ignacio, do you have any points you want to bring up about Thon?
Well, I really think Thon Maker is just the ideal stretch five because he has the perfect shot form. He can hit threes at consistent rate. Defensively, he's maybe defensive player of the year candidate in a couple of years. He has the leaping ability, the blocking ability. He can guard smaller players. And then he can sort of dictate in the post. I think that's where he needs to improve a little bit. But I think he just has the potential to become an MVP candidate in a couple of years. Maybe not right now, but in a couple of years, I can definitely see the Pistons winning a championship because of Thon Maker.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you there. Thon Maker, great player, but he just doesn't lack the talent of Boban. He doesn't dictate like Boban in the
He doesn't
paint.
have the oomph.
Yeah, I never said that he was as good as Boban. I'm just saying that I think he's the ideal
Point to me,
stretch five player.
Defensive player of the year. My brother Alex Sumanich, I think like 5 inches shorter, scored 30 points on him. So I don't think that's his strength of area and strength, whatever the fuck I said. But yeah.
Well, Thon often plays down to his competition.
Playing time. Even though the Pistons are one of the worst teams in the league, and he's still a bench warmer, which is not very outstanding.
Yeah, I know. Like,
I honestly think he should have started over Andre Drummond.
I feel like that's really just on the Pistons. Like, they have such a talented young player, and they just don't utilize him properly. I think that if he never becomes MVP type player, I think it's not to blame on him. It's just gonna blame it on the team that didn't allow him to succeed. That the Detroit Pistons, like, they should just cancel that franchise for not allowing that young player with so much potential to succeed.
Yeah, they should bring that other team back.
SuperSonics.
Yeah, Sonics. Honestly,
I feel like
he
even
could
if
be
they just moved to Seattle and kept the same management, they would utilize him properly. Like, I feel like just moving cities would just make them start him. Like, they could keep the same coach. They'd keep doing Casey, but he just decide, we're in Seattle now. Thon Maker is going to be our starting center. But
I feel like they have a pretty good chance of landing Rui Hachimura in the free agency, because if they move to Seattle, of course, I'm just connecting the dots. Seattle is very close to Vancouver, and Vancouver is basically Japan, and Rui Hachimura is Japanese.
I think
let
they
me add to this. This is hypothetical, but Bradley Beal just said that Rui Hachimura is kind of like Kawhi Leonard. Even though Rui Hachimura probably has one of the worst defensive rating in the entire league this season, but I feel like maybe if he signed with the SuperSonics, I feel like Kawhi would really just want to go to the SuperSonics because he would want to develop Rui Hachimura and make him the next Kawhi so his legacy could carry on. And we could have a stacked team with Thon Maker there, Rui Hachimura, and Kawhi. I feel like that's the next big three.
Yeah, honestly, I think Thon Maker could, really utilize Kawhi Leonard if they came together.
Just imagine Kawhi driving in, drawing the double team, kicking out to Thon Maker in the corner, splash. What can you do? When you leave Thon Maker open, unguarded, there's just nothing you can do. You have to know that the opponent's scoring 3 more points. And back to our Clash Royale. Do you think that Thon Maker just maybe isn't playing Clash Royale before his games? Maybe that's what's kind of holding him back right now.
I think that, and he also might not be in high enough arena, to get from a bench warmer to a starter, You know who I think is going to start playing Clash Royale by June? Light Reacts. He's going to start playing the day before June, and he's going to be a brand new person.
Look,
Also, the SuperSonics could benefit Flight too, Flight, Kawhi, and Thon, that could make and Roy, obviously, that could make a very difficult team to play against.
I feel like they would need a good point guard, though, to hold them together because I think Flight would demand the ball a lot. I think you're going to really need to have a good point guard that's going to make them not want to be ball hogging the entire time. So I feel like a guy like maybe Taco or I don't know, maybe a Boban type player, not Boban necessarily, but a player like him who can really dictate. I feel like having someone like that run the point could really help that team out if you're adding Flight to it.
Definitely. GreatWallOfSerb.
Yes.
You're an up-and-coming player hoping to get drafted one day. What are your thoughts about this draft class?
I think overall, LaMelo, I don't think he's going to get drafted. I think if he does, Flight will for sure be ahead of him.
Sorry, I knew this topic was going to come up one way or another. I'm just going to put it out there. Twin EK. What do you think about his game?
Ben,
especially offensively?
He said he's a better offensive player than AJ Lawson. What do you think about that?
Ben, you want to take it from here?
I've already talked about it.
In the last podcast,
I went full on with it, so I think it's your turn to talk about it.
I think he lacks availability with his right hand. He has no use for that hand. Might as well just chop it off, because he doesn't even know how to dribble or do anything with it. But I think he has a better vertical than AJ, He's able to get up there, get boards. And I think he just has that mentality, to push defenders away, that AJ doesn't have. And that's what I think 20K could do. I think he's more of a defensive player like Kawhi. Just lacks the availability to score. He can dunk and everything, but he just needs to be better outside the perimeter.
Who?
Yeah, yeah.
20K? That's
20K.
very interesting because Twin EK described it the complete opposite way. He said he's a better shooter, he has the better agility, but AJ's a better defensive player.
But I mean, he can't have good agility when he doesn't have his right hand, right? It's not a usable thing for him. He's just
yeah.
overconfident about
Mhm.
But
himself.
I don't know. I think, maybe the offensive game hasn't fully developed for 20K. I think he's working on it. And in those videos, you can see that, he's putting in the effort. But I think the defensive end, that's where he makes his money. I think, he's a good defensive player. Like GreatWallOfSerb said, kind of like a Kawhi, good on defense. But how far can that take you in basketball? Just being a defensive player, like I think it can take him pretty far, but I think he needs to kind of develop a bit more of an offensive game if he really wants to reach the level of playing that he told us about.
Yeah, I mean, I think he needs to do more drive-by dunks, and especially that haircut just has to go. If he wants to make it, just has to go. It's quarantine time, man. Time to buzz it off.
If you're seeing this 20K, maybe take that advice.
Yeah, I feel like to be a good player, you need to have a good go-to hairstyle.
I was just about to say that. The
That's
go-to
a great.
hairstyle, that is the thing that you need. Like, I think the two most important things before the game is playing your Clash Royale. You need at least a best of 7, so at least a half an hour, and you need time to get that go-to hairstyle ready. Because if you show up on the court and you don't have your go-to hairstyle, I don't know how you're going to perform. So, when here, for example, the lawyer, what about her boyfriend? What he pulls up onto the court with the go-to hairstyle crazy, and he's just all over the court like dunking on everybody. He just has that go-to hairstyle, and that it really intimidates everybody.
The go-to hairstyle, like since LeBron recently got his hair back, new animal, new machine. He's a totally new guy. I think that's what really helped him. He was starting to lose it these past few years. He's starting to lose the hair. He got it back, and he's back on track, doing his regular stuff that he did back in Miami and Cleveland.
What about Boban? Do you rate his go-to hairstyle?
Oh, Boban, great hairstyle. It helps him really dictate. Boban's able to dictate very well with his hairstyle. In the paint, not much they can do. He just lifts the ball up and it's over.
And he kind of has those go-to ears that fit in with his surge body. The ears really show off his surge body. Like, I don't know. I've talked about the surge body a lot, but I haven't really talked about Boban's ears and how they really, kind of show how he has that surge body. What do you think about
I think
Boban's ears?
in the paint, like his ears has great sense, of sound. He knows when players are coming in and out. I think that very helps him a lot. He's able to like hear people coming from behind, so he never gets the ball stolen and ripped away from.
He really has a talent for everything. You put him in any situation, he is going to thrive.
So, last question about Horton Tucker on the Lakers.
Taylor Horton Tucker.
Jalen,
Yes.
Just I don't know. He's not really talked about, and
yeah,
I don't know. Like I don't really want to sound biased because I kind of had a run-in with him, and that might be the cause of why I dislike him. But if you want my opinion, I can say
Can we get some insight on the run-in first?
okay. If you really want to know what happened, so basically what happened was I was playing my Clash Royale. So I was playing my Clash Royale. I was playing my best of 7, preparing for a game, and Taylor Horn Tucker comes up behind me, and it's game 7, and it's in overtime, and there's about a minute left in overtime, and both the person I'm playing and my tower, they're both at 100, and I have Fireball ready to play it to win the game. And what he does is he plays Expo, but he plays a defensive Expo. Like, who plays a defensive Expo? And then I ended up losing, and I just didn't perform that game. I didn't perform because I didn't win my Clash Royale, and I would have easily won if he didn't come up. And he's just always disrespecting me and the Clash Royale. One time, I stole a mini net from Bayview Golf and Country Club, and what he did is I took it to the showers to hide it from Coop Dub, and he didn't know. He didn't know at all. The only person that knew were me, Jay Keka, and someone else. And what he did is somehow he came into the washroom. He saw it and he snitched. He went and he ran down and he told Ed, the receptionist, and Coop Dub about it. And I had to give that mini net back. And I just never got a chance to have a mini net. So really, I don't know. It's kind of small incidents, but it just, I don't know. To me, they're really important and they matter a lot. And I don't really like his attitude towards me.
Let's just go to now the second part of this podcast. We're going to be talking, like always, about GreatWallOfSerb and your game. So, Ignacio, do you want to start the questions or should I?
I'll start off. So first of all, I just want to hear, what have you been doing, or what have you been working on during this time to improve your game?
As you know, I'm a sharpshooter. You could compare me to Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, all those great shooters. But I think I'm above them. They're not
above
near.
them.
It's just it's gonna take me a couple of years just to get growth and older maturity. But when I'm there, I'll just be splashing. Me and Bronny James are just gonna be I think a big duo. Both of us being 04. We're gonna be a big duo when we get to the NBA.
Next question. So, it's a bit early for you, but what are some schools you're looking at? Like, I know maybe not even for
Are we talking
college,
postgraduate
but
or are we
grade.
talking
Okay. Let's first start off for grade 11, grade 12.
and 50?
Are you interested in, maybe, if you're given the opportunity, would you go to Sacred Heart? Let's just put that out there. Let's put it out there.
Go to where?
Sacred Heart.
100%. That's probably one of my go-to schools. I haven't got an invitation yet, but hopefully one day soon.
Finally, it's getting the recognition it deserves. Like, nobody's been really appreciating how good of a school it is, and finally there's someone who agrees with me.
What about for postgraduate? Do you have any unis you're looking at right now?
Right now there's Huddleberry University. There's also Ben Georgetown University, great one to go to. The Vucanovic University, another great one.
What about the Ignacio University?
Ignacio University, yeah, that's up in, I think, Peru. So I don't think I'm looking to travel that far. That's a bit too far for me.
What's the funniest story you ever told?
Let's see. There was one time I was playing Godrica in a 1v1. Flight was right on the sideline, and I told Flight, FTC, shot it. Everyone stood up. The whole team just stood up. It was crazy. I think that's my funniest story by far. And then Godrica was just on the floor. I broke his ankles. He just couldn't do much.
That's a funny story. So, last question. Do you think there should be any additions to Clash Royale? Do you think there's any way they could improve the game?
I think definitely not adding any WNBA players. I think that would just ruin the game. That's one thing that they shouldn't add. But what they should add, I think more people just like Boban and Manute, Thon, big players like that could really
Mhm.
impact the game in different ways.
George,
I think George is,
7-7 beast.
yeah, George. I think for a big guy, he's very crafty. He's really able to somehow use his handles to his advantage, even though he's a big guy, and he's able to cross over players left, right, and center. So George is like he's really running the jungle.
So, do you have any questions for us while you're here?
Uh, what do you guys think of Doncic's progression through Clash Royale?
I think they should add a card of him, or maybe you know what? I feel like because he's the king, you could put him as the king tower instead of having the king tower. You just have a picture of Luca. Like,
But
that's one idea I have.
the king could also be, Headband Caruso.
Could be, but
Uh,
I feel like King Luca fits a bit more.
yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so it was great having you here. GreatWallOfSerb. Thank you for joining and talking about Clash Royale and its impact on the NBA. Thank you to everyone for watching.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah,
Yeah, everyone have a good day.
yeah, you too. Take care.